Imagine you are standing in a crowded room, your mind racing with thoughts and emotions. Someone says something that stings, a sharp word aimed right at your heart. What do? Do you answer back immediately, letting your anger take control? Or do you hold your tongue, calm and steady, choosing silence over reaction? Have you ever noticed how quickly our words can turn into weapons, cutting down relationships, feeding regrets, or stirring chaos inside us? What if the greatest strength lies not in what we say, but in the silence we keep? In the chaos of daily life, when emotions run wild, how often do we lose control of our speech? How often does a single angry word lead to endless turmoil? We ask ourselves, can true power be found in quiet restraint? Imagine if Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest minds in history, taught us to zip our mouths as a first step to mastering ourselves. What could this simple act of silence do for our peace, for our strength? Before we dive deeper, welcome to Book Boost, the channel that feeds your mind and spirit. If you seek wisdom that changes the way you live, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your journey to inner power starts here. Please drop down your one thought on believe in yourself in the comments. Your voice matters. Now, let's explore why controlling our speech is the gateway to true self-control and resilience. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after, and the truth never harmed anyone. The humility behind this quote is rooted in silence, listening more, speaking less. Silence is not weakness. It is a fortress, protecting us from destructive emotions like anger, jealousy, and pride. When we rush to speak, we often serve these emotions. But when we pause and hold back our words, we gain control. Seneca once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In the space between our thoughts and words lies our power. That pause is where strength grows. This path is not easy. It requires discipline, patience, and the courage to face discomfort. But by learning to zip our mouths, we take the first step towards mastering the inner storms that threaten our peace. Together, we will discover how silence can be our shield, and self-control, our true power. Fortitude and restraint, overcoming the chaos within. You want to speak. You want to scream. You want to argue, defend, explain, or even hurt. That moment when the blood rushes, when your heart pounds, when your thoughts start spinning faster than you can control, that is the moment where the real battle begins. Not against the world, not against another person, but against yourself. We are all familiar with this battle. Every single one of us has been in a situation where we felt misunderstood, insulted, or provoked. It happens in our homes, in our workplaces, on the streets, and most of all, in our own heads. And in those moments, it feels almost impossible to stay calm. It feels unnatural to stay silent. But that unnatural act, that restraint, is where real strength lives. The Stoics taught us that the strongest person is not the one who lifts the most weight, speaks the loudest, or wins the argument. The strongest is the one who can master himself, who can feel the fire rise inside him and still not let it spill out. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That is fortitude, and that is restraint. Let's be honest. Silence is hard, especially when you're right, especially when your ego is wounded, especially when someone looks you in the eye and tries to tear you down. But if we speak with our pain leads us. If we speak with our anger commands us. We lose, not to them, but to ourselves. The Stoics knew the world would always throw storms at us. They never promised peace from the outside. They promised peace inside, but only if we built it. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. That's not easy to hear, is it? Because it puts the responsibility back in our hands. It means the chaos isn't just out there, it's also inside us. And how do we overcome that chaos? Not with more noise, not with shouting, blaming, or explaining, but with silence, with stillness, with strength that does not need to be seen or proven. There is a special kind of power in walking away from a fight you could easily win. A deep kind of wisdom in choosing not to argue, not to retaliate, not to react. But this is not silence out of fear. Not the silence of someone weak or beaten down. No, this is the silence of someone who understands that their peace is worth more than their pride. This is the silence of someone who has learned that self-control is the highest form of freedom. You see, when you zip your mouth, when you refuse to give your emotions the wheel, you are not denying your feelings, you are training them. And that is the core of Stoic practice, to be the master of your passions, not their slave, to look within and find the roots of your reactions and pull them out, one by one, until only clarity remains. It's not about never feeling angry. It's about feeling it and choosing not to act on it. It's not about never feeling the urge to speak. It's about feeling that urge and deciding to stay quiet, because you know it serves no purpose. In those moments of restraint, we grow. In those seconds where we could react, but don't, we become better. Let us remember, words are irreversible. Once spoken, they carve into time, into relationships, into memory. And too often, we speak from wounds that haven't healed, from fears we haven't faced. The Stoics understood this. That's why they chose their words like a sculptor chooses his tools, carefully, sparingly, purposefully. Marcus Aurelius reminds us again and again, we are not here to control others, only ourselves. We are not here to win every debate, but to remain unmoved by it. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That's what he said. So if someone insults you, let them. If someone misunderstands you, let them. If someone seeks to provoke you, let them. Your peace is not theirs to take, unless you give it. And we give it through reaction, through carelessness, through ego, through the need to defend or prove ourselves. But what if we stopped needing that? What if our validation came from within? What if we trusted that our silence says more than our words ever could? Silence, then, becomes a form of discipline, a sign that we are no longer swayed by every wave, that we have dropped the need to explain ourselves to those who cannot hear truth because they are not ready, that we no longer fight with shadows, but build light inside. When you restrain yourself, you suffer for a moment, yes. It's uncomfortable. The words burn on your tongue, but then you feel a calm, a power, the feeling that you have conquered something not outside you, but inside. And that kind of victory builds you. Real transformation begins when we understand that not everything deserves a response. That silence is not the absence of action, but the presence of mastery. That fortitude is not coldness, but deep inner fire held steady under control. And so, each day gives us the chance to choose. Do we react, or do we respond? Do we speak, or do we listen? Do we lash out, or do we let go? In those choices, we shape ourselves. We either become ruled by our emotions, or we rule them. As we walk this path together, let us remember, every moment of silence is a brick in the foundation of our inner fortress. Every time we choose not to react, we grow closer to freedom. And every word left unsaid in anger is one more step toward peace. We do not walk this path because it is easy. We walk it because it leads somewhere no shouting ever could, to self-mastery, to clarity, to strength that cannot be shaken. And in this silence, in this restraint, we become who we were always meant to be. Speaking less, living more, the Stoic path to inner sovereignty. There is a strange power in silence. It is a power that few understand but many seek without knowing why. We live in a world that demands noise, constant talking, endless opinions, and quick reactions. Yet, the truly strong do not need to shout. They do not need to fill every space with their voice. Instead, they choose to speak less and live more fully. Imagine the weight that words carry. Each word is a seed, planting something in the mind of another, in the world around us. When words come from anger, fear, or pride, they become weapons. They hurt, divide, and create pain that lasts long after the voice fades. But words spoken with care, after calm thought, have the power to heal, to inspire, and to build. This is the art that Marcus Aurelius spoke of. The mastery over our tongue is the gateway to mastering ourselves. When we hold back our urge to speak at every impulse, we create space inside us. That space is freedom from the chains of rash emotion, from the trap of regret, from the endless battle inside our minds. To speak less does not mean to be silent forever. It means to speak wisely, to let words carry meaning rather than noise. It means understanding that every moment we choose silence over speech, we choose control over chaos. Think about the moments when you spoke too soon. How often did your words ignite a fire you later wished to extinguish? How often did a quick reply, fueled by frustration, leave you feeling weaker rather than stronger? These are the lessons life gives us if we are willing to listen. True strength lies not in the volume of our voice, but in the calmness of our spirit. When we master ourselves, we no longer react to the world like a storm. Instead, we become the still center, steady, unshaken, and clear. Seneca reminded us that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Many of our spoken words come from fears and worries that may never happen. By silencing the noise inside, we stop feeding those fears with careless speech. In choosing silence, we also practice humility. We accept that we do not have all the answers, that listening often teaches us more than speaking. We open ourselves to wisdom beyond our own thoughts. This is the way of the Stoic, a path of quiet strength and deep understanding. When we speak less, we also learn patience. Patience with others, and patience with ourselves. We no longer rush to fix every situation with words, but allow time to reveal what is truly important. This patience builds a calm mind, able to face challenges with steady courage. Imagine a life where you control your words like a skilled craftsman controls his tools. Every word chosen with care, every silence filled with meaning. This is the life of inner sovereignty, the life Marcus Aurelius lived and taught. The world may try to pull us into endless noise and distraction. It may push us to react quickly and loudly. But we have a choice. We can choose the harder path, the path of self-control, of silence, of strength. Over time, this choice transforms us. It changes how others see us, but more importantly, it changes how we see ourselves. We become people who do not need approval or applause. Our value is not in our words, but in our character. Control of speech leads to control of emotion. And control of emotion leads to freedom. Freedom from anger, from envy, from regret. Freedom to live fully, without being ruled by the chaos of the mind. When you next feel the urge to speak out of anger, pause. Breathe. Remember the words of Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your reaction starts with your words. The silence you keep is your shield and your strength. It protects your mind from unnecessary battles and preserves your peace. It allows you to listen, to learn, and to grow. We are not made to be slaves to our emotions or to the noise around us. We are made to be masters of ourselves. And mastering speech is one of the most powerful steps toward that mastery. So let us speak less and live more. Let us build a fortress of quiet strength inside. Let us remember that sometimes the greatest courage is found not in speaking up, but in knowing when to remain silent. The path of silence is not empty. It is full of power, full of meaning, and full of life. Choose it, live it, and become the master of your own soul.